Call in, guys. Talk to me nice.
Welcome back to Sports Tea. Welcome back to Sports Tea.
Talk to me nice. Nice. Call in, guys. Talk to me nice. Call in, guys. Talk to me nice. Talk to me nice.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Tea. Oh my gosh, happy Friday. I am so grateful to be back. Honestly, guys, I have a really great show tonight. So, as everyone loads into the stream, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and share the video. Another thing, I know I've taken a couple days off, probably more than I would have liked. I was super sick. Then I was on vacation. I don't know if you guys can tell, I did get a little darker, a little bit more tan. But uh, what you might want to do is click the little notification button so that you are going to be able to get notified for the live stream. Sometimes when you don't go live enough, or you take a couple days off, YouTube sort of takes you out of the algorithm and sort of like takes away the notification bells from subscribers. So do me a favor and go and click that notification bell so that you're notified when I'm actually going live. So thank you all for joining me tonight. Really super excited. Shout out to all the moderators. I see Ace of Rage. I see Right Hand Cam. I see the Autism Cottage Boy. I see Hazard Spirit. Thank you so much for joining. Like I said, load in, everyone. This is going to be a really great stream. I hope that you guys have some time on your hands. We're going to be spending some time. Tonight is really about just sort of coming in here, kicking it with me for a while, and just really having a good time. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have hopefully a lot of engagement. Hopefully a lot of people are going to be loading in, just coming in, talking about how they feel. I have a lot to talk about. I mean, I've been gone for a while. So much has been going on in the sports world. First of all, did you guys see this Liberty game? I mean, the WNBA is on fire. I can't wait to do a members only stream about the WNBA tomorrow. That's coming soon. Really, really excited about all of the content that is out there right now. And I have to shout out some of my fellow YouTube content creators because they are killing it right now. I mean, Too Raw for TV he has just been lighting up the YouTube streets daily with content. Ticket TV, he is just, he's the big homie out here in the YouTube streets, really just paving the way for a lot of us to continue to come out here and tell the truth. And so that really sort of brings me to my first topic of the night. And I've got a lot, guys. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the Clippers saga. We're going to talk about Dominique Wilkins' comments. We are going to talk about T-Mac and, just some of the things that have been going on lately. And Molly Karam's, or Karam, however you say her last name, Molly from First Take is leaving. And that was a big story. Stephen A. Smith responding to that. So we have a lot to dig into tonight. And I do have a special bonus topic for you guys, which it's going to be funny and it's going to be just a lot for us to chew on as well. So get ready, buckle up. Tonight is going to be a long ride, but it's going to have a lot of laughs. It's going to have some information, some things you guys might have already seen, but I'm going to be sharing my opinion and my take on it. So let's just jump right into this Clippers saga. I have to say, Kawhi Leonard, I have been on his ass for so many seasons. I mean, I've never really truly believed in his I've just never really believed in his injuries. I've never believed in him being I just have always felt that there's something nefarious about Kawhi Leonard. I've always felt that he was not on the up and up. And so this story coming out about him is not surprising. Now, some of the details surrounding it is a little bit surprising just because of how this is unfolding. And again, I think that this is a story that we've seen time and time again, quite frankly. This is a classic tale of money, power, abuse of power, and a classic tale of greed. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard this song. It's Outkast, or it's Andre 3000, and maybe it's featuring Khalees. I love this song. I think it's called A Millionaire. And there's a lyric in the song, and she's singing in it, and she says, what's a girl to do in a world of greed but kneel and pray? And you have to ask yourself, when there's money being handed to you, will you take it? In this world where, money makes the world go round, what would you do for a dollar? How far are you willing to go? How far are you willing to abuse your power if you have it? If you can buy anything you want to get what you want, what are you willing to do? So a lot of these things we're going to get into. And, I really I want to talk about the Clippers saga and just a lot of sort of different things that have unfolded, some things that I have sort of put together just from what I'm seeing and what makes sense to me. And I'm not an expert. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to come in here and tell you someone's going to jail because I don't know. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm just going to talk about some of the things that I've seen and heard. I do have sound and video of Steve Ballmer, and I want to talk about him. I want to talk about Kawhi and where I think he's at, really the blame that I see on both sides of this. And I mean, nothing's been confirmed, right? There's been no actual case. There's an investigation. Aspiration is being obviously investigated into. They're being called a fraud company, right? A sham of a company. This was a no-show job for Kawhi Leonard. He didn't have to do anything. He just collected money. And obviously this was an under-the-table deal. Now, how under the table was it? Was it Steve Ballmer connecting him to a to a potential endorsement deal? That's what he's saying, right? So that's what Steve Ballmer is saying. And what it looks like to me is they created a sham endorsement deal, a no-show job. That's exactly what it is, a no-show job that they created in order to give Kawhi this extra money. That's what it looks like. And so obviously, Steve Ballmer had a lot to say. He came right out and got ahead of what appears to be, a really big scandal for the Clippers, what appears to be one of the largest cap circumventions in NBA history that's being reported about. So, and we're going to get into that. How, is this happening throughout the league? Is this something rampant that's going on? How much blame should Kawhi Leonard get? Is he getting a lot of heat? How should Adam Silver respond? I want to hear from you guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think. But I do want to jump right into Steve Ballmer getting ahead of what he perceived to be some obviously a huge story about the Clippers, about him. He's defending himself right away. He's coming out and defending these allegations. And in my opinion, I don't think he should have spoke on it. I think that he should have shut his mouth and stayed quiet. I mean, who knows where this is headed and leading to, but I'm going to get into why I think he came out and started to run his mouth about this investigation and, just getting ahead of any blame that people are going to bestow upon him. So here is part one of the interview that he had with Ramona Shelburne. And there's some key pieces that I want to react to, but let's listen and watch together. And I'm curious to see what you guys are going to say in the comments. I'm going to jump in the comments with you and engage and we'll chat as we're listening and watching this video.
On Wednesday, podcaster Pablo Torre published a report that the Clippers circumvented the NBA salary cap because Kawhi Leonard had a no-show contract with a company that Clippers owner Steve Ballmer was an investor in. Steve, thanks for joining us to discuss all of this.
I really appreciate you giving me a chance. I look forward to it. Up front, I want to say one thing very clearly. We, the Clippers, have abided by the salary cap circumvention rules because that's the right thing to do. And we have done that. I happen, for what it's worth, to think it's a very important rule in terms of promoting competitiveness and equal playing field across the league. But whether I agreed with it or not, it's the rule. And we've absolutely abided by that.
So how do you define that rule against salary cap circumvention?
Well, there's obviously writing in the league rule book on this, but I can make it really simple. We cannot pay a player anything beyond what's in his standard player contract, and we cannot cause anybody else to pay the player what's beyond their standard contract. And that would include, for example, sponsors, endorsers. That is verboten. We can't do that, and we didn't, certainly in this instance. I mean, we can have sponsors. The players can do endorsement contracts. We can do sponsorship deals with the same companies that they do endorsement contracts. We cannot have any involvement in their negotiation with the companies who sponsor them. We didn't in this case, and we never have.
Steve, in your initial response to the podcast from Pablo Torre, you guys said that these allegations are provably false. So how do you prove that?
Well, if you start and think, let's pick up from the point about what the rules are. You say, okay, we know what the rules are. Was there an exception made in terms of our relationship with Aspiration? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is a company that I got to know, frankly, through them approaching us about a sponsorship deal. My family and I were super keen to do work to stem climate change. We think that's an important thing. I was in the process of even changing the design of Intuit Dome so that we could be carbon neutral. And then we meet this company that focuses in on an aspect of carbon neutrality. To me, it seemed like a match, kind of made in heaven, if you will. And then they offered us an unbelievable sum of money, $330 million. That by itself, one of the biggest sponsorship deals ever done. And it wasn't naming rights. We had turned them down on the naming rights deal because we liked Intuit, blah, 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 blah. But they didn't offer even more money. So we had a fantastic deal with a company that fit with stuff we care about personally. And because I was enthusiastic, I read their business plan. Remember, they defrauded me. They defrauded many other investors much bigger than me. But I read the business plan and said, hey, this makes sense to support them, to support us. We made an investment in the company. So all fine. I had no control over this company. That is important, actually, under the salary cap rules. I owned less than 3% of the company. There were investors who put in a lot more money than I did. I had no board seat. I had no control. Heck, it was a fraudulent company. It's possible nobody had any control. And now you look back and say, could I believe anything they said? Could their employees have been believing anything they said? I don't know. But at the time, it was an exciting deal for us to go do. Now, we had already signed our deal with Kawhi Leonard. We signed that in August of 21. It was a 4-year deal, 4th year at his option. It was the most that we could pay him. That was the most we could do under the rules, if you will. I've been excited about that, even though we knew Kawhi had to rehab a year from a torn ACL. So, kind of okay, this is going to work. This is really going to work, and it did. All done. I remember where I was. We're very excited. That would have been August. In September, we got the deal done for sponsorship and investment. We announced that. And at that time, we hadn't even introduced, Aspiration hadn't asked, or we hadn't introduced for sure, Kawhi to Aspiration. We were done. They were done. We were done with Kawhi. We were done with Aspiration. The deals were all locked and loaded. Then they did request to be introduced to Kawhi under the rules. We can introduce our sponsors to our athletes. We just can't be involved. We made an introduction. That was in early November, well past when all of this happens. We had a chance recently to go through all of our relations with Aspiration. This is where you get to kind of how you prove this stuff. We, as a part of our cooperation with the Department of Justice and the Securities and Exchange Commission, we had produced texts, emails. We'd already gone through all this stuff because it was part of document production in their investigations. And we even found the email that makes the first introduction. It was early November. I don't remember the exact date. So where could any of this circumvention have happened? It didn't. It couldn't have. The introduction got made, and then they were off to the races on their own. We weren't involved. I eventually learned that they had reached a deal. I have no idea what the deal was.
So, but you see how this looks to the average fan, right? You're invested in the company. It's $50 million as your investment. You're part of the biggest raise that they have as part of the whole building of that company. Then your star player gets a contract for $28 million. He's not required to do anything as part of that contract. He doesn't actually do anything to promote their company. And he signs an extension with you guys right in and around the same time. Like you can see it looks like what it looks like.
Let's talk to the fan. We signed that deal with Kawhi before any of this. Before Kawhi even knows these people. We've signed our deal. That's high integrity. We made our deal with Aspiration. Literally, I had no control over the company. Literally, even when I invested, I think there was somebody who put in 6 times as much money as I did. No control. And that's okay. The average fan should understand that. And they went off and made a deal. I don't know what the deal is. I know what the reports are with the speculation. I don't know what the deal is or was. And frankly, I can't even tell you whether it's this much different, that much different, or not different at all from some of the other endorsement contracts that athletes do. In terms of amount, I don't know. I actually don't know the amounts of most endorsement deals. But when you look at Forbes magazine and they talk about the highest paid athletes, many of those top athletes, as Kawhi was a top athlete, is a top athlete. You read those things and they say they make more off endorsements than they do their very large salaries. So I don't know what to expect, but I think the average fan may not either. But we did things by the book, and I don't know what those deals should look like, nor do I know what this one looked like.
Guys, I think that Steve Ballmer is a liar. I don't know what you guys think, but him jumping out to get ahead of this, he's very quick to say that the company defrauded him and other investors. He wasn't the only one. He had no control over the company. I mean, it was clearly set up to be that way. I mean, Steve Ballmer is a billionaire. He can buy every team in the NBA. He can own the NBA if he wanted to. If he really wanted to do that, he could. That's how much money he's worth. So as a result of that, I just think that if he wanted to arrange things to look a certain way, he very well could. The whole interview in and of itself, I think, is hilarious because someone of his stature, of his net worth, they don't typically say anything. They let these investigations play out as they will, as they may. And so to me, it's a very calculated effort to get out ahead of it and decide to go on ESPN and do this interview. If you did nothing wrong, why are you coming out and doing this interview? And it makes you wonder, how should Adam Silver respond to the Clippers scandal? I think that that is going to be a moving part. I honestly don't have the answer, but I do think that if they investigate and the investigation comes back that Kawhi Leonard was asking for, these additional things that are against the league, that circumvent the cap, if it comes out that Steve Ballmer is responsible for all this, which it seems that they are, and they are doing this, Kawhi Leonard should have a suspension or a contract void. Whatever those punishments are that should happen, should happen. I mean, Steve Ballmer should obviously be banned. He should lose the team, be forced to sell the team, or at least, get some sort of ban. I do think that that will happen. I do think that Steve Ballmer will be banned for at least a year. But I mean, the interview didn't stop here. To me, there's some more damning evidence that perhaps there's something so much more nefarious going on than just Kawhi Leonard wanted some additional perks, some ownership in teams. I don't think it's just about what Kawhi Leonard was doing. I think that he was obviously allowed to do this. He was allowed to ask for these abnormant, things that are outside and above what the league allows, right? So there's rumors that he had asked for ownership in the Raptors and the Spurs. None of these teams were willing to do it. They reported him. Some of these allegations have been investigated apparently, and there's a laundry list of things that he has been accused of doing, him and Uncle Dennis. And I mean, when you have your Uncle Dennis representing you, who knows what could happen, right? So I think that Kawhi Leonard has had some poor representation probably throughout his career. I think that he has, engaged in some things here that they don't look pretty good for him. I think that Kawhi Leonard has obviously, he's not only circumvented the salary cap, but he's cheated NBA fans, Clipper fans. If all of this comes out to be true, I mean, this is pretty damning. What has he done for the Clippers organization or for the Clippers fans? It's not looking very good. His time with the Clippers is tarnished, to say the least, just with this scandal coming out. I mean, his participation in games, I think he's missed 60% of games for the Clippers. So you've played in 40% of games and you have the nerve to be asking and demanding more money. This aspiration situation is an extra $28 million under the table for doing nothing. Then you have an extra $20 million in stock again for doing nothing. I think that underhanded deals at least should come with a little bit of work. at least some participation. And I mean, you can directly tie Kawhi Leonard's payments from aspiration or lack thereof to his participation and play on the court. So when he wasn't getting those payments, he wasn't playing. When, he was getting what he wanted, it seems like, or seemed like, he needed to play for his next contract. He was playing in back-to-back games. I mean, Kawhi Leonard is someone that I personally don't trust, haven't trusted since he left the Spurs. You win a championship with the Toronto Raptors and you leave. That's a little bit suspicious. That shows all of us NBA fans that Kawhi Leonard, it's definitely not about his love for the game. You don't just leave a team that you just won a title with to go and sign with another team that is just going to give you all this money, but nothing has been accomplished there. I think it all looks a little suspicious. Clearly, the Raptors were not willing to give Kawhi Leonard the illegal things that he was asking for. And it all makes more sense. Nobody could really understand why he'd want to leave Toronto when they just had a historical title run. And I mean, the weather, getting out of the cold, I can see wanting to be in LA closer to home. That makes sense. So, it was easy, I think, for us to let it go, but it makes more sense that the Raptors weren't willing to give in and capitulate to him and his uncle's ridiculous demands. So Steve Ballmer, he continues to essentially distance himself from any sort of accountability in the second part of this interview with Ramona Shelburne. And I want to play this for you guys, and I want us to react together. I think that something that I want us to consider for a moment is that it's not just that Steve Ballmer is defending himself, but perhaps Steve Ballmer is behind everything. Like, was Kawhi Leonard actually set up by the league or the Clippers organization? Were the Clippers tired of Kawhi Leonard's lack of participation? A report was just released today that the Clippers are done with Kawhi Leonard. They can't wait to get rid of him. So if they can't wait to get rid of him, isn't it so funny and a little bit convenient that all of these stories are coming out about him? We never really heard too much about all of the demands that he's had. We've never heard too much about that. We hear about these kinds of things in the media when there's a takedown. And it seems like the Clippers built Kawhi Leonard up. They allowed for him to hold the team hostage, and they want their lick back. They want to get rid of him. They're not going to be under, his rule anymore. They're not going to allow for him to basically blackmail them anymore, demanding this money because they've been giving it. They're going to take the hit, and they're going to drag him down, because it hurts him a lot more to have his contract voided and to, potentially be suspended, have the end of his career completely ruined and tarnished by a scandal like this. And then it also hurts other players' ability to get these kinds of perks, some of which could be perfectly above board. It just hurts the ability for teams to collaborate with players on endorsements and future deals of that kind of nature. But anyway, I want you guys to hear what Steve Ballmer continued to say, and I want us to consider my question. Was Kawhi Leonard actually set up by Steve Ballmer and the Clippers? Is there a concerted effort to, just sort of get rid of this kind of behavior and just, kind of stop this kind of takeover from players and lack of participation in games by the players? Is there an effort to stop this? And is he being set up essentially and taken out by the Clippers? Let's see what Steve Ballmer continues to go on to say as he shirks responsibility and accountability.
So why do you think they gave him that much money?
Let me just repeat. I don't know how much money they gave him.
Well, in the court documents and in Pablo's podcast, they reported it was 28 million.
Pablo's podcast, I don't know anything about the court documents on this. I haven't seen them, and I don't know. I'm not trying to be, I don't know. I really don't know. But the speculation is what it is. And why did they do that?
It's a lot of money. I mean, 28 million, 7 million a year is a lot of money for a guy that you didn't actually require to do anything.
I don't know why they did what they did, and I don't know how different it is. I really don't. And frankly, any speculation would be crazy. These were guys who committed fraud. How would I be able? Look, they conned me.
You're one of the richest men in America.
They conned me. I made an investment in these guys thinking it was on the up and up, and they conned me. At this stage, I have no ability to predict why they might have done anything they did, let alone the specific contract with Kawhi.
I mean, you're one of the richest men in America. You've obviously done very well in your career in business. Like, you didn't smell anything wrong with the company. You didn't see anything wrong. Like, you obviously reviewed the financials before you got involved with the business proposal.
I reviewed, my staff reviewed primarily fraudulent financials. Now, should I have sniffed it out? Maybe. I feel embarrassed and kind of silly that I didn't sniff it out, but I didn't. I made the investment. A lot of other smart investors didn't sniff it out either. It's also true I've made a bunch of bad business deals and investments in my life, and I've made some good ones. This was fraud and a bad investment, and I'm embarrassed by that.
Yeah. When you signed Kawhi in 2019, the NBA had an investigation that his uncle, Dennis Robertson, asked for extra benefits, whether it be use of a plane, a house, guaranteed endorsement opportunities. And at the end of that investigation, you were cleared of wrongdoing, but they left open by saying if any new information comes to light, they would reopen that. So since 2019, has Dennis Robertson asked you for any other benefits that would be in violation of the league rules?
They know the rules. They, meaning Kawhi and his representatives, including his uncle. We know the rules. And if anything's not clear, we remind ourselves what the rules are. And we make absolutely clear we're going to abide by those rules. And they understand them as well. And it's important for them to abide by them, which they have.
So you were listed as one of the largest creditors in the bankruptcy case. And you said in your statement, you're looking forward to cooperating with the feds. You're looking forward to cooperating with the NBA investigation. Why? What are you looking forward to there?
Well, the Clippers are actually the creditor. It's not on the investment that I am a creditor. It's on what they owed us for the sponsorship deal. And, I just lost my investment. That's what happened there. Why am I looking forward to? It's really important to me to communicate to the NBA ecosystem, but particularly our Clipper fans, that we've been on the up and up. Since the day I bought the team, and the circumstances were definitely tough, we've really emphasized doing things the right way. Doing things the right way, whether it's the way we treat our fans, our players, our staff, the rules, do things the right way. And I want our fans to really understand that they've aligned themselves, that they support an organization that does things the right way. I mean, that's fundamental. We welcome the league investigation. We have nothing to hide. And in fact, we're glad for that opportunity also to tell our story because we think it's important. And it's important for me, for our fans to really understand that we're going to do the right stuff.
Since you signed Kawhi, and really even back to his days in San Antonio, there have been stories like this. There have been a couple of lawsuits filed. There was a lawsuit filed from a man named Johnny Wilkes, who said that he received payments for his influence there. Randy Shelton, a former trainer.
Dismissed by the court.
The league has investigated you guys for some of these allegations. There's been issues with load management with Kawhi Leonard. There's been other issues with him. There's just a lot of smoke, right? And you say it's important to fans and for you to feel like you do it on the up and up. But you can understand why the average fan would go, okay, always with this guy. Like, why is there always these kind of stories with this guy?
I don't know. I think because he is, relatively doesn't speak much. I think there's a lot of mystery around Kawhi, and that may be why fans kind of tell themselves, create a narrative, if you will. I've had a great relationship with Kawhi. I've gotten to know him a little bit. We sit down a couple times a year and just kind of talk about how the team's doing. The allegations, have not been true. But what's most important to me is we've done the right thing in all those interactions. And Kawhi's business is Kawhi's business, but we've always done the right thing.
Have you spoken to Kawhi about any of these allegations since the podcast came out on Wednesday?
I have not. No.
Would you be interested to see what he has to say?
It's really his business with aspiration. So, I wouldn't ask about it. No.
If this story had come out about another team, another owner, how would you feel about it?
I'd want the league to investigate, take it seriously. Like I said earlier, the salary cap circumvention rules are important to the league, and I'd want the league to investigate.
And just so we're clear, you never directed anyone from Aspiration to do an endorsement deal with Kawhi Leonard?
No, I didn't. And more importantly, we, the Clippers, did not. We didn't give them direction. We made an introduction as is appropriate under the rules. A lot of sponsors do like to, they call it activate by doing something also with players. We made the introduction, and that was that.
Do you think, given this situation and other teams and the commonplace of stars doing a deal with a team sponsor, do you think the league should maybe look at that practice and maybe adjust that because of the appearance of impropriety or because of situations like this?
That would really be up to league office to think about. I mean, as the rules stand today, would almost be disrespectful to tell a sponsor, no, I won't introduce you to that player.
Mhm.
And it would be disrespectful to go to the player and say, yeah, somebody was interested in meeting you, but I won't tell you. The rule says we're allowed to do that. I think it's the respectful thing, actually, for us to do. And I think the system has worked well, but ultimately that's the NBA's call.
How do you know, the Board of Governors meeting is in a few days. How do you think your fellow owners are going to approach this?
I don't know. I hope they'll have faith and confidence in me, the folks who've gotten to know me, but I can't predict.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Ramona.
Appreciate your
Really
time.
appreciate the opportunity to talk about what we've done and express, I guess, some of the anger I'm feeling about what's going on. And I also feel some sadness for employees. I'm mad, but I'm also sad that they're going through this as well as our staff and our fans.
Thanks, Steve.
I think Steve Ballmer is full of it, guys. I really do. I think that Steve Ballmer is a liar. I think that Kawhi Leonard is a scam artist. He's been scamming the NBA for years with his injuries, whether they're real or fake. I don't think that if he's that injured, he should still be playing. He should have retired due to his injuries. I'm sick of it. He's a scam artist, and I think that his scamming has finally caught up to him. That's what I think. And I think that the Clippers have set him up to take the fall. So you hear Steve Ballmer saying, I don't even care about what his response is going to be. So I'm going to come out here and speak publicly on a situation that involves him, but I don't need to ask him about it. I haven't spoken to him about it, and I wouldn't want to know what he had to say. That sounds like a lie. You're coming out, having an interview with Ramona Shelburne about an under-the-table deal with Kawhi Leonard. So you don't care what Kawhi has to say, and you wouldn't have asked him about it. I'm sure they've spoken about it, at least through their teams, at least through Uncle Dennis. Steve Ballmer is a liar. And what he's trying to do is distance himself completely from Kawhi Leonard. And, quite frankly, the other owners in the NBA, they have to be furious. They don't have the deep pockets that Steve Ballmer has. They don't have extra money laying around to create shell companies, to literally employ and staff people to have a fraudulent company, all just so that Kawhi Leonard doesn't have to work. They went as far as paying other celebrities and endorsing other celebrities who are far more famous, that have more brand power than Kawhi Leonard. Leonardo DiCaprio, I think I would pay him more than Kawhi Leonard to represent my brand. His voice is a lot bigger. He's won an Academy Award. Kawhi Leonard doesn't even talk. So why would he be paid more money than Leonardo DiCaprio to represent that brand? Why? Doesn't make much sense. So what I think is that the NBA, I think they're tired of Uncle Dennis, someone who they probably don't have much respect for, who probably isn't like most agents, like a lawyer coming with all this education. So they don't respect him. And then he's going around demanding all these extra things. And look, Kawhi Leonard is not the only person to do something like this. Do I think that this is probably the largest cap circumvention? Absolutely. And I hope that Kawhi Leonard is made an example of, primarily because he's not on the floor anyway. So what are we missing as NBA fans if he gets suspended? We all know he's not going to show up. We all know he's going to have some reason to sit out. That's what we know about him. Kawhi Leonard is the 12th person to run the red light. I don't care if 10 other people did it. He is caught right now. The spotlight is on Kawhi Leonard. I don't want to hear about, he's being set up to tarnish his legacy. His legacy is tarnished already. Pandemic, he completely shit the bed. Him and Paul George, they were a complete bust together. It was a failure. Serial losing is what he's known for with the Clippers. This is, I would say, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, alongside Russell Westbrook, James Harden. That's one of the biggest failures in NBA histories. Of all of NBA history, it's one of the biggest failures. I mean, I already knew that James Harden was drafting his exit speech from the beginning of the season. And he's already writing it right now for next season. Scamming up his next big contract. This is what these players do. But Kawhi Leonard is one of the largest scam artists that got caught. He's at the end of the long list. If there's a long list, which I don't believe there's such a long list, because I don't think that a lot of teams can afford to do what Steve Ballmer has done. And so owners are going to be out for blood. The owners that can't afford to do these things, the owners that have to play by the rules and work within the salary cap, it's not good enough for Kawhi Leonard to just be introduced to, a potential endorsement opportunity. That's not good enough because he would have to work from there, right? So the introduction is only good if you actually then do the work yourself, right? So yes, it's all about who you know. And we're going to hear the road tripping guys talk a little bit about that too. But it's kind of just like Kawhi Leonard wanted it all. He wanted to get paid max dollars and not do a damn thing, not deliver from NBA fans. I mean, when situations like this happen, it's just like the players, they obviously don't care about NBA fans. And so why should we care about them? Why should I care if Kawhi Leonard's contract is voided when he's stealing money from me? If I'm paying to go see Clippers games and I'm hoping that their superstar is going to show up and he's just taking off because, I don't know, the aspiration payment didn't hit, it's an FU to the fans. It's a middle finger to the game, to the guys that worked hard, that had to get out every night and play. So I do think that Kawhi Leonard is being taken out by the Clippers, and they don't want any more of this. They've been held hostage by the deal that they agreed to. So once you start paying under the table, you can't stop, because if then you're exposed, then you're banned, then plans to operate and open a new Intuit Dome fall through because you're being investigated or being suspended. And the Clippers are a bigger joke than they've ever been. Because aspiration is not just a fraudulent company, right? The Clippers would then be a fraudulent organization. They would be defrauding the fans, NBA fans all over. The fans that stay loyal to them, even in spite of them not winning. They're not looking for the Clippers to win. The Clippers are selling hope, right? So I do think that Steve Ballmer is up to something. He's up to no good. I believe that Kawhi Leonard took advantage of him and his generosity and the willingness for him to circumvent the salary cap, because, yeah, the money isn't much to Steve Ballmer, but the power, the control, it is. That means a lot. And so when you don't live up to your word, to your end of the agreement, the 28 million, the extra 20 million in equity, that doesn't mean a whole lot to Steve Ballmer. An extra 100 million, hey, that's, a couple $100 to him, maybe. Maybe that's how he sees it. Who knows, right? So it might not be about the money, but I think it's more about the principle. Kawhi Leonard and his uncle, his, guy who's sort of, I guess, risen up from being on the streets to living an alternative lifestyle, and now demanding huge contracts for Kawhi Leonard and demanding all of these extras, demanding ownership in teams. I mean, this is what they are commanding. And look, I want to say something really quickly, because there's a lot of people I know in the audience that are going to have a problem with what I'm saying. They think I'm trying to tear a black man down, right? That's what they think. How could I come in here and talk like that about Kawhi Leonard? But look, he's stealing from us. I'm talking from an NBA fan perspective. Forget all that, you're hating on a black guy. We're trying to tear him down. He's a two-time champion. He's accomplished a lot in his career. And so what? What is the big deal if he wants to steal from a billionaire and these NBA owners? I understand that point, and I can actually roll with that. So that I'm fine with. Kawhi Leonard stealing from Steve Ballmer, the Clippers organization, I don't give a damn about that. It's the cheating of the NBA fans that I have an issue with. It's the not showing up to play. You want to do these underhanded deals? Great. That's all fine and well. But Kawhi Leonard is a liar. He's a cheater. He cheated NBA fans. He cheated, his teammates out of opportunities. He's cheated other well-deserving NBA players that they want to get out there and play. Think about Mikal Bridges. Is it fair to a guy like that who's got 100% participation in NBA games, never has missed a game in his entire career, that shows up day in and day out? Is it fair to a guy like him? We should be praising players like him. We should be praising players like Paolo Banchero that want to get out there on the floor and play. Kawhi Leonard is a scam artist. He's mesmerized us by the titles, dazzled us in his performances against LeBron James. What has he done for us lately? He's lied to us. And just because he doesn't come out and talk doesn't mean that he hasn't cheated NBA fans. It doesn't mean that we need to excuse the behavior. This is just a classic tale of money, power, and greed. Kawhi Leonard is like the little rat that falls for the bait. That money is in the rat trap. It's the cheese, right? Why do people think we call money cheese? Fetty, cheddar. He's the little rat going towards the trap. That money, that cheese doesn't mean much to Steve Ballmer. He took it off a much larger brick, placed it in the trap for Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard took the bait. He took that bait. He was greedy because the money, the New Balance deals, the endorsements that he already gets, the money that he gets for part-time play, for his lack of participation, it wasn't good enough. And it probably really wasn't good enough. Think about who his agent is, Uncle Dennis. Former street corner executive, according to Jeff Teague. He's going to get his, and who knows who else has to get paid. We don't know what's actually going on with Kawhi Leonard and his family. We don't know. What I do know is that the money that he was getting, it wasn't enough. He needed more and more. And he didn't want to work for it, just like he didn't want to play in NBA games. All of this tracks. So I believe these stories about Kawhi Leonard. I think that sometimes things are just exactly what they look like. That's what I believe. The Road Tripping podcast, they had a lot to say about this. Pablo Torre, he has come under a lot of fire. A lot of people have criticized him for breaking this story. The Road Tripping podcast, in particular, Shannon Fry, called him flat out like, hey, why are you snitching about this? What is it to you? Why should NBA fans care? And I thought that that was really interesting commentary. I want to talk about that with you guys for a little bit. I am really curious to know more about what you think. Keep engaging in the comments. I think this is a really important story. I think that this could potentially shape a lot of different deals for the future. I think that this could create a lot more, I think it could create so much more supervision and regulation of the NBA and the deals that players are making. And sometimes one bad apple or a couple of bad apples can ruin it for the bunch. So we have to talk about this. It's irresponsible for us to not come in here and talk about both sides, to talk about the behavior of Kawhi Leonard, to talk about the fact that Steve Ballmer is probably trying to take him down. Seriously. Steve Ballmer wants him gone. He didn't play. He didn't live up to his end of the bargain. You think Steve Ballmer is just going to take that loss? It's not about the hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not about that. He didn't live up to his agreement. When you say you're going to do something, you should do it. Somebody that powerful like Steve Ballmer can eliminate Kawhi Leonard to make him look really bad. And Steve Ballmer is going to Balmer. He's still going to be a billionaire. He's still going to own the Clippers. And even if he's forced to sell, he'll get to sell it at an astronomical dollar and then probably sabotage the league with the billions of dollars that he has. So I doubt that'll be his punishment. What I could see happening is a ban. He might be banned for a year and get to come back while Kawhi Leonard is just getting older, athleticism waning, and nobody's going to want to deal with him and his uncle Dennis. But here's what Channing Frye and the Road Tripping podcast had to say. They had quite a bit to say, and I want to unpack their commentary because they said a lot, and I think some of these messages are really important.
Torre just dropped a bombshell investigation. Steve Ballmer's company paid Kawhi $28 million for a no-show endorsement deal that former employees say was to circumvent the salary cap. The company is now under federal investigation for fraud.
They'll get
Mark Cuban coming on the podcast next week, and he has reached out to Pablo and said he would like to go on his podcast after Pablo invited him. So there's a lot going on. How big is this scandal, though? Is where we begin.
First of all, why are you snitching? No, why are you snitching? Who cares? If you listen, do you know how much this lemon perfect bottle was? Probably 28 cents. This is what Steve Ballmer thinks of 28 million. He's like, oh, here you go. You want this? Here you go. He don't care. He don't care. Also, why are you snitching?
Who's snitching? Who's snitching? The reporter?
The
the reporter's job is to snitch. Our job is to keep it quiet, right? Like Balmer didn't tell, Kawhi didn't tell, so Pablo's doing what he's supposed to do, and he's doing an absolute great job. Shout him out for this investigation, right? Again, all of these things are allegedly. We were talking about Malik Beasley and all of his drama, and then it turned out to be allegedly, not be to not be as true as we know, and as you know, he is in a position where it looks like he's going to be able to possibly play again. If you would have asked people 2 months ago, it would have been a completely different story. So all I'm going to do is play both sides of it and say this allegedly. Now let's get into if this really did happen. It's happened before. Everybody knows the Joe Smith deal. Everybody knows what happened with Joe Smith. If you know the NBA, this is not the first time. This won't be the last time. This happens all the time. Now to this level, like some old like 1990s illegal recruitment of college player level of like, we're going to give you $28 million in a duffel bag. You got this. This is some Blue Chips. Go and watch the movie Blue Chips.
Great movie.
Right?
Except it's just in the NBA.
Yeah, except it's in the NBA. And yes, Balmer does not care. He's one of the richest men in the world. But so was Paul Allen, right? Before he passed away. Paul Allen had all the money in the world. They would tell teams like, hey, we want picks, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, hey, we want to give you $500,000 in cash. It's like, we don't take cash. Because, they'll do cash considerations. Yeah. Portland was on a no cash because like Paul Allen doesn't need cash. So they're like, we don't need money, right? We need picks. We need valuation. So they've had this before. You still can't do that. You still can't do it. But the players rarely get in trouble for it. Players don't get in trouble for it. That's all I'm saying. Players don't, like, again, we don't know if this to be true. Like maybe he started a company and Kawhi was going to do it and then they couldn't get the funding. I don't know.
If you want to pay Kawhi Leonard $28 extra million to sit there, good for you.
I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat if I was Kawhi Leonard. What? I would do it in a heartbeart.
I would have made up a commercial about him and trees talking to each other, where they don't actually talk. He's just hugging it.
Wait a second. Where's
the integrity? What the fuck?
Integrity? What? Professional sports?
Stop.
Integrity? No, this is survival. Wait. One last thing, Perkins, and I want you to go because Perkins is going to bring us all together, right?
Well, duh.
But wait, really quickly. When you talk about players, they always like, oh, we'll give you a front office position. We're going to give you this and we'll make you an ambassador, right? Like this is what a lot of these players are offered, especially later in their career, right? Or will allow you to get like possible ownership. A lot of these things are promised to people. Michael Jordan was promised something. That's why when he left the Wizards, he went back to play, was promised something. And when he retired, he didn't get it. So that's how the whole thing Wizard breakdown. So players are often promised things, futures, a lot of futures. That happens all the time. The issue is this was a current thing to circumvent the cap, which changes it. So there's always these backdoor deals and agreed negotiations that happen all the time. Rarely is it found and reported on. This is not the first. It won't be the last. But if we're talking about the magnitude that they got caught potentially, yeah, that's next level. I'm ready for Adam Silver. I'm like, let's see what Adam Silver is going to do with this.
A few things. I thought that Channing Frye saying, why is Pablo Torre snitching? I thought that was ridiculous. I thought that was stupid. I thought that it was just like, why are you doing this podcast? Why are you here talking? Why do we have to see you? Does anybody really care what you have to say specifically? Why you? Just like, why am I talking right now? I thought that was dumb. Pablo Torre, obviously, he's an investigative journalist. He is doing a lot of really great work, supposedly, right? But I think that he's working hand in hand with the Clippers, with Steve Ballmer. Somebody is feeding him these stories. There's no way that this was just kept a secret this whole time. Steve Ballmer, he's a billionaire guy, and this was kept under wraps. And all of a sudden, Pablo Torre just gets his hands on this. He has lawyers that are involved. You have all this money, Pablo Torre, to investigate this. Oh, please. Someone is feeding you this from the inside. This is being leaked. Steve Ballmer is worth 170, 180 billion dollars. There's no way in hell that he's going to get caught doing anything that he doesn't want to get caught doing. The interview with Ramona Shelburne, that's like, he doesn't have to come out and say anything. He's worth $180 billion. He can let his lawyers do all of the talking. He can let everybody else do all of the investigating, the speculating. He doesn't have to say anything. So all of the talking that he's doing lets me know of his guilt. It lets me know that he wants this out. The Clippers want this out. He wants to distance himself from Kawhi. He wants to expose Kawhi, Uncle Dennis, the nefarious dealings that they have. Nobody was talking about this before. All of a sudden. But I do think that NBA fans should care about Kawhi's no-show scandal. It just goes to show that what his character is, that he's willing to take money for work that he didn't do, which is consistent with his play and lack thereof on the court. It all tracks to me. If you don't play in the NBA and you're getting paid to do that, why wouldn't you take a no-show job with aspiration that you did nothing for and collect money there? Seems like a no-brainer for Kawhi, who's already been doing this for the last, 10 years or so? Kendrick Perkins addresses the integrity piece. Allie asks about that. What about integrity? Right? And what I thought was also interesting is Richard Jefferson, he compared and deflected Kawhi's situation to other players. And he talked about future deals and how this is different because this is a current deal. Hell yeah, it's different. Promising a player that they're going to become an owner in the future is not the same as the underhanded salary cap circumvention that Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers likely likely participated in. I don't want to hear about other players when we're talking about Kawhi Leonard right now. And everybody does that, the whataboutism. Every time someone's on trial for something, oh, what about so-and-so that did this? Well, look, you are on trial right now. Right now, Kawhi Leonard is in the spotlight. The Clippers are in the spotlight. Kawhi Leonard, his lack of participation and playing on the court is in the spotlight. Him scamming and stealing from NBA fans, that's going to be in the spotlight. He has stolen from NBA fans, guys. That's what's happening. It's happening right in front of our eyes. We've let the Clippers get away with it. We've let Kawhi Leonard get away with it. And who knows, there probably could be other players, but I don't think to this extent. And there needs to be a punishment. There needs to be an example made out of this situation. I'm all for it. Let's make an example out of Kawhi Leonard. It's not like, they're preventing him from making the bulk of the money in his career. He's at the end. He should be forced into retirement. He should just announce his retirement. But yet, he's not going to do that because he wants to do what? He wants to keep collecting for not doing anything. The Clippers are absolutely done with Kawhi Leonard. They've taken him completely out of their videos, their marketing for the team. Kawhi Leonard is not even there. They are done. They want to move on from him. So why wouldn't they completely throw him under the bus? Why wouldn't they move on from him in such a dramatic way where they have no choice but to cut ties with him? Where no matter what, he's out and they're going to remain. The house always wins. You can't beat the house. Kawhi Leonard is that little rat that went for the trap. He ate the cheese. He was greedy. Couldn't help himself. And now look at him. His contract is at risk. His future earnings are going to be at risk as well. But Kendrick Perkins touches upon the integrity of the league. He goes off on a rant saying that there is no integrity in life. And I thought that that was really interesting as well. And I want you guys to see this rant and hear it, and we're going to react together.
So two things. You want the medium picture or the big picture first?
The medium.
Okay.
Big. We all go big.
Right. So here's the thing. One, I believe that Kawhi Leonard is getting too much heat for this shit. Right? Any player would have taken that shit. Like that shouldn't be on Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, when he's negotiating a contract, and this is how it happens with all players who's negotiating deals, they have an agent in place who I believe is Uncle Dennis for Kawhi Leonard. I may be wrong, but I believe it's Uncle Dennis. Uncle Dennis he represents Kawhi Leonard. Okay? When you sign a contract extension or you sign with a new team, how many pages is that shit?
Lots.
Who on this, Richard? Have you ever looked through your entire contract?
I can lie to you. I can lie to you and say yes.
You can lie. Okay. Janet, you know what? You might have. You might have. He can't
eat chicken without choking. He definitely read his whole contract.
What?
I've never read my entire contract. That's why you have an agent in place, right? An agent finding things like, hey, we got the deal. Here's some of it, right? Here's the contract, but I got to go change paragraph such and such on page such and such because I don't like this, right? The agent job is to make sure, one, they protect you, and two, get you max amount of dollars, right? Like, you got to get your fucking bread. Now, Kawhi signed on the dotted line, right? Pretty sure it was like, hey, we're going to add this extra incentive. We can't max you out. We need to keep this money. This is how we're going to do it. Kawhi is doing nothing else that nobody else in the league does as far as when they sign their paperwork. All I'm saying is, again, look who's running the organization outside of Steve Ballmer. Here we go. Lawrence Frank once again. Right? I've been on here. No one trusts Lawrence Frank. All of a sudden, Lawrence Frank, who's running the organization under Steve Ballmer, this shit comes out. Okay, cool. But the Clippers need to be getting more heat about this than Kawhi Leonard does. Okay, that's number one. Big picture. Allie, is no integrity no more. I tell my wife this shit all the time. Vanity is so green to the world. Nothing in this world, when you're being successful, and it goes to show you that billionaires cut fucking side deals in whatever they do. Billionaires have under the table shit going on every single day. That's how they get ahead. When it comes down to even in our shit, when you talk about trades, right? Like when we talk about how a team stole a player and doing free agency, right? Agents cut side deals. Hey, I will get you such and such if you resign and max out this guy. Like, underhand deals happen all the time, not just in the sports world, but in America. No one has ever gotten ahead by being fucking honest. You can't make me believe that shit. No one. It's always something, whether it's, I'm not saying they're cheating, I'm not saying they're doing nothing illegal, but you can get ahead by the relationships. People take for granted when they say, oh yeah, it's who you know, not what you know. Well, no shit. Even when you look at, no, but see, here goes some real shit right here. If you want to keep it a buck in the media landscape, a lot of personalities are represented by the top dogs. Top dogs, relationships matter. Right, so it's not like, that's not everybody who got something to say, the Kawhi Leonard scandal. No, side deals, shit go on all the time in the United States.
Perk, really quickly. How many players agree to deals at 12:01?
That shit been done 3 days ago.
Yes. How many players agree to deals at 12:01?
It been done 3 days ago.
And that's for a decade, 10 years, 20 years.
All I'm saying is this, right? And I'm leaving it at this. Should Kawhi Leonard get some heat? Yes, but not as much as Lawrence Frank, Steve Ballmer, and Kawhi's agent. Because no player reads their entire fucking contract when they signed it. I'm sorry. So you can't.
No. This is the part. We can't fault him for not doing his due diligence. We can say that is acceptable, but that is a part of his responsibility. If there's an extra $23 million in your contract, bro, from having $28 million, thank you, Alex. There's an extra $28 million in your contract, and you're going to act like you don't know. I'll absolve him of that, but we can't fault him saying, well, he probably didn't read the contract. Yeah. He knows that there's another $28 million. He knows that if he requests a trade, he ain't getting that money either. He knows.
That's bullshit, though, RJ, because let me tell you why. That's bullshit. Let me explain why. Because not only your agent, most agents have some type of law degree. Am I right?
No. Now we're doing generalities.
Hold on. I'm just asking because I'm saying most agencies have their lawyer. That's why when you sign the contract, doesn't lawyer fees get taken out along with agent fees? Because lawyers look over your contract to protect you, so you don't have to do it. All I'm saying,
we're going to agree to disagree.
We're not disagreeing on that. We're saying the same thing.
I agree with you, and I think, listen, if he gets a one lump sum, $28 million, that's the thing. If he's getting $3 million a year extra, I don't think he's noticing that. To be real. I don't think it's like, hey,
listen, bro, if I got a separate company, if I have a separate LLC named KL2 that I sign up for, right, that I have, and my distributions that are going there equate to $7 million a year, my guy, I'm noticing that.
Hang on, they put it in his name?
No, the name of the LLC was
his initials and his number? What?
It wasn't wrapped up too tight, Ellie.
And this is what
Oh my
they
God.
were really hiding. They was more,
Yeah,
it's
they
more
were
of a
like-
peekaboo.
Allie,
Are we
this is-
still in the trees or are we fucking smoking the trees? Like,
Let's
what?
get the fucking
Like,
thing.
can you see me?
Lawrence Frank, your job is to do what's best for the fucking organization, bro.
Hide it better.
Remember, there's no integrity, Perk. Let's remember that.
Wait. There's no honor among thieves, but yes, are we surprised? Does it happen all the time? Yes. If you're LLC, don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what I read, that it was KL2 was the name of the LLC.
That's the most thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Having said that, really quick, and then we're
I'm
moving on.
noticing $7 million going into road tripping LLC.
Bitch, no, you ain't.
That's true. That's true.
No.
Well, somebody's noticing
Well,
it.
Rich is not noticing shit.
I'm not-
Having said all of that, what's the punishment?
A vacation using that $7 million you did every year, a yacht in the Mediterranean in the middle of the season. Whatever you want.
I don't think it should be a suspension.
Make him play. That would be
Somebody going down.
I think a fine. I think a fine, a big ass fine, like a huge fine, because Adam Silver has. By the way,
If they did it once, they probably done it
Allie,
before.
Richard Shannon. By the way, it's time for Adam Silver to make a real big statement. You know what I'm saying? Because people have been playing with this man too long. I always say he's one of the best commissioners in sports. I came up when I got drafted under fucking David Stern. David Stern didn't hide. God rest his soul. He didn't hide who he was. When you saw him in person, he was still that firm motherfucker when it came down to dress codes and shit like that. He was zero tolerance. Adam Silver is so cool. Players could pick up the phone and call Adam Silver. And I'm not just talking about franchise guys, role players. They could call Adam Silver for concerns. He is a player's commissioner, but at some point he got to lay down the hammer, pause on something, and make it.
Kendrick Perkins sounds like that old guy that got in trouble for everything and wants everybody to, to be in trouble now. That part I don't like about Kendrick Perkins. I think it's really interesting. He's calling for Kawhi to have no punishment, but yet wants Adam Silver to lay down the hammer. Why can't people just say both Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard are at fault? Why does it have to be so far in one direction and so far in the other? Kawhi Leonard is wrong. What he did was wrong. Now, look, I don't have a problem with NBA players trying to take as much money as they can out of these owners' pockets. I have no issue with that. But it's the way you go about it. It is. And you have to work within the rules. And so Kawhi Leonard and his uncle, they are circumventing the cap. They're making these underhanded deals. They don't care about the consequences or the fact that, they haven't even really delivered for the NBA and the Clippers fans. I think that Kendrick Perkins is an absolute disgrace for his commentary, quite frankly. I find him to be absolutely disgusting for completely taking any accountability away from Kawhi Leonard. He just wants Kawhi Leonard completely absolved of this whole thing. He has zero accountability for Kawhi Leonard. He's blaming the uncle in full. He's saying that, he's represented by Uncle Dennis, who wasn't a lawyer. That's Kawhi Leonard's fault for putting his Uncle Dennis in charge of his finances, of his contracts. That's who he was comfortable hiring, which obviously he's leaning on these owners. It's not just like, hey, can you give my nephew this cool perk? He's got leverage. He's probably got a whole investigative team that brings some sort of, intel on these owners. Hey, I know this about you. Why don't you just turn around and give me this and give us this? And Steve Ballmer probably said, hey, you don't have to do all of that. I'll give it to you. You got to do this. Kawhi didn't do it. He did not live up to his end of the agreement. And I think that Steve Ballmer said, hey, I made you and I'm going to end you. I gave you this opportunity. You blew it and you disrespected me. You took my money. You didn't do anything that we agreed that you would do. And so now it's over. This all goes up in smoke. You're not going to be able to hold this over my head because I'm going to expose it. Again, I'm going to get past this. You won't. And that's all she wrote, right? But Kendrick Perkins, he's willing to blame everybody and their mom except Kawhi Leonard. The uncle's at fault. The Clippers are at fault. Lawrence Frank is at fault. Everybody else. I mean, he talked about other players that might, everybody else is doing this. Then he goes into all of humankind. All of humanity is bad. And anybody would do what Kawhi Leonard would do? No, anybody wouldn't do it. Because for some people, their reputation is not worth the extra dollars that they would get. Not everybody's a thief. Not everybody's a scam artist. Not everybody wants to take all the money that they can get for doing the least amount of work. Some people value hard work. Some people value how they got where they, where they are. Some people really value being an NBA player, being given the opportunity to play professionally for 20 years or so. Some people really, really, really respect the opportunities that they've been given. A lot of people don't. A lot of people throw away the opportunities that they've been given, and most people don't really respect opportunities unless they've had to really work for them. So it's no wonder that Kawhi Leonard has done all of these nefarious things, because he's been given things that he didn't have to work for. So why would he have any respect for it? So yes, I think that NBA fans should care about the scandal. I think that we should have our eyes open, our ears open. I think that we should be paying attention. I think it's really important. I don't think that Kawhi Leonard is getting too much heat. I mean, do you guys think so? I don't think he's getting enough heat. I really don't. I think there's too many outlets that are protecting him. I think the Clippers are trying to bury him. So the mainstream media is trying to bury Kawhi Leonard. But I think there are too many people also making excuses for him. NBA players are just, they're banding together. Maybe it's because they don't want other people to be exposed for things that they may have done. Why isn't Pablo Torre investigating LeBron and Balco? So yeah, Kawhi Leonard's getting a lot of heat because we have like LeBron and Balco. Why isn't Pablo Torre investigating an actual explosive story? That's what I want to know about. I want to know about the players that were on Balco. Pablo, if you're listening, if you hear Sports Tea, if you see this clip at all, I want you to investigate who is on Balco in the NBA. I want you to expose that. You have all these lawyers. You can spend all this money on investigative journalism. I listened to his podcast. I listened to him and his co-hosts go on and on about how, other YouTubers, we can't afford his level of investigative journalism. And yet we're all questioning him, and that's fine. I'm grateful that Pablo Torre can come out, that he has the resources to do all of this. I mean, I would question where those resources come from. Are you being fed this kind of information from Steve Ballmer's camp? Likely. But why isn't Pablo Torre investigating LeBron James on Balco? Why isn't he investigating those allegations? What about Giannis Antetokounmpo on Balco? Investigate that. Kawhi Leonard stealing money from the NBA. It's a story. It is an explosive story. It's not the story that everybody wants. We want to know if LeBron was on Balco. We want to know the details of that. And if you have all this investigative journalism money, use it. Put your money where your big mouth is, Pablo. Because you were running your mouth that all these content creators, we can't afford to do this and we can't afford to do that. Well, you've got the money. Get to it. Clock is ticking, Pablo, because I can't possibly take you seriously if this is the biggest story you've got. With all the money that you're using and resources you're using to investigate. Investigate LeBron James and the NBA and Balco. Investigate that. Speaking of integrity in the league, integrity in the sport, there's no integrity. There were guys that played with integrity. They felt that getting on the court was a badge of honor, injured or no. They wanted to play all 82. Dominique Wilkins, I mean, he is such a stand-up OG of the game. I think he really respects the fraternity of the league. He really respects today's players in every era and what they all have to offer. So I have a lot of respect for Dominique Wilkins. I think he really tries to be a bridge. I think he believes that right now a lot of the basketball discussion is for sure polarizing, and he doesn't want to be part of the negativity. He does want to be part of the positivity, but he's not going to just stand there while players today disrespect his era and create this battle of the eras that they're just not going to win because they can't live up to the standard. right? So Dominique Wilkins made some comments about today's players disrespecting older generations. He also talked about LeBron James and the GOAT conversation. And I want to read this article, just a few pieces from it, and we'll get into some content and some video from Dominique Wilkins as well. Like I said, Dominique Wilkins he's one of my favorite OGs. He's better known as a human highlight reel. Some people called him Neek. He had a brother also in the NBA. Just really overall great player. I think very underrated legacy. He's not talked about enough. I think he's one of the greatest small forwards that we've ever seen play the game. Arguably top 5. But I want to talk about his comments. I want to share this article with you guys as well. It's a good one. So let me go ahead and do that. Oh, I'm so sorry. So Dominique Wilkins, he sat down with Esports Insider, and I thought this was a really good article, really and truly. He talked with them, and he talked about today's game. He talked about the playoffs and new players he's seeing. He spoke about OKC and how great they were to watch. He feels that the league is getting to be a lot more competitive. He's seeing more parity in the league. He talks about some of the young stars that he believes are just shining, such as SGA, Jalen Brunson. He does talk about admiring LeBron James and Kevin Durant for still being in the league. He says that he admires them. And he says, one thing about me, I'll always give credit where it's due, but I wish these young guys would stop using us as a punching bag to prove their point. Being part of history is the most meaningful thing because we all grew up wanting to be like someone. So we have to have that respect. And then ESI, they want to get clarity, and they follow up and ask, do you mean from the argument that current day players would beat the old school players? What gets to you in particular? And Dominique Wilkins responds, well, first of all, it's a ridiculous thought. They act like we played on peach baskets or something. I give credit to every era because it's that respect and love for the game that made us who we are. When I hear, well, the league wasn't that skilled back then, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. If you haven't seen that era, played in that era, you cannot make that statement. It's so outlandish, so ridiculous, it makes me cringe sometimes. What were you watching to make those statements? It's a lot of youth. They don't really know. I respect every era, and I tell these guys, I love the way y'all play. I love that you play hard. It's just about respect, to honor those before us. I just get rubbed the wrong way when there is so much disrespect. You don't have to do that. Hey, look, it's your time. We've had our time. Let's respect what all of us have done. Wow. Dominique Wilkins, I mean, those comments, they're just piercing. They cut deep because there really is no reason to disrespect your elders. And I believe that. Dominique Wilkins, he also talked about the Lakers and how they're obviously moving on from LeBron James. He says it's definitely Luka's team, a 25-year-old guy compared to a guy who is 40. You should be willing to hand over those ranks to him. I don't think that's even a question. I think that's what the plan is. I mean, it's a huge question. It's a huge question mark. LeBron, he doesn't seem to be willing to give up the limelight, the shine. He doesn't seem to be willing to pass the torch. And then he's asked blatantly, where do you stand in the Michael Jordan versus LeBron debate? Dominique Wilkins says, I don't believe in the GOAT and all that stuff. How can you say a guy is the greatest of all time when they haven't played against some of the guys that were the greatest of their era, like a Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell? But I will say this. Michael Jordan made 6 finals and won 6 championships with the same team, and he won 3 championships after retiring to play another sport. Nothing like that has ever been done before. MJ did some things that no one will ever do. So if I'm going with the best player to ever play, that's where my mindset sits. I'm going with Michael. That's no disrespect to anyone, but I'm looking at what he accomplished in a short period of time. And he goes on to talk about, his friendship with Michael Jordan and if he is interested in his commentary that's going to be coming up, which I think that he is. I think a lot of people are looking forward to that. But, even more importantly than that, guys, what I loved about this article was Dominique Wilkins just keeping it real. Hey, I don't like the negative talk about the errors. I don't think it's necessary to disrespect. And I think his comments were fair. What do you guys think? Were Dominique Wilkins' comments fair or foul? I'm going to go with fair. I think that those are some of the most balanced comments and feedback given about today's NBA players. He wants them to be elevated. He wants to continue to grow the game and to celebrate these young players. He doesn't want to hate on them, but he wants them to stop disrespecting those of the past, to have some respect for those who came before them. And I think that is really important. I really do. Now, Dominique Wilkins, he was caught live and he was asked, who is the GOAT? And I want to play that for you. It's really short, but interesting.
Who's the GOAT?
The GOAT, I really don't believe in that stuff, but, Michael Jordan he was a different animal. And if you haven't witnessed him play, you have no idea how good he was.
And that's his main point. Young players today, they didn't watch back then. So why are you running your mouth? Oh, I know why. You're mad that you can't reach the heights of Michael Jordan. You can't win 6 titles. Can't win 2 titles in a row anymore. In a far less defensive league. Dominique Wilkins, he doesn't believe in the GOAT conversation. I hate the GOAT conversation. I hate that we have to come in here and talk about the GOAT when everybody didn't play against everybody. And I do think that it's wrong to crown somebody the greatest of all time in a team sport. I don't see how it's really possible. And I think we come up with all this criteria and all of these things to make a guy fit into the GOAT. But it's all just a fake conversation. It's a phony conversation. It was made up to essentially create marketing dollars. There's just an entire conglomerate dedicated to the GOAT conversation. There's a market for the GOAT conversation and nostalgia. I'm part of it. We all are. Anyhow, I mean, the GOAT debate, it never ends, right? There's always somebody running their mouth about who they think the GOAT is. There's always someone looking for a hot take, looking to, clout chase. I mean, Tracy McGrady, every couple of years, he comes in and out of the, media world. I believe he had a contract with ESPN not too long ago, or he was making some guest appearances there. I don't really know what happened, but he's back and he wants back in. I think he wants to be part of, the media again. And so he's been going around and he's had a couple hot takes, and I don't know if he's looking for a contract or what he's doing exactly, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be back on ESPN in the fall. And so he's doing his rounds. He's been on Gilbert Arenas' show, The Arena, and he decided that he wanted to talk about the triangle and whether or not LeBron James would be considered the GOAT if he, was introduced to the triangle. That was the narrative that Tracy McGrady actually ran with, which I thought was quite interesting. And, I want to know what you guys think about this. Would LeBron James actually be the GOAT if he played in the triangle? I'm going to just say no. So that's my opinion right up front. I'm going to say no, and then I'm going to tell you why. But we're gonna talk about why I think that LeBron James will never be the GOAT, even if he was introduced to the triangle at any age. I don't care if he was 2 years old when he was introduced to the triangle, it wouldn't have worked for him. But let's hear what T-Mac had to say, because it was interesting. So I'll play it for you guys now and we'll react together.
If Bron got introduced to the triangle at an early age,
that's different.
Bron would have expanded his game.
I'm gonna say that would be different.
Tremendously. Yeah. We probably would be seeing he's not as fast or uber athletic like he once was. But if we take Bron, who he is now, with the athleticism, speed and everything, agility, and put him in that triangle, learning that, I think we talk about. I don't think it's a question.
Yeah, you couldn't.
I don't think there's a question who the greatest player would be. But to me, would he be better than Kobe?
No. And the reason
Is Tracy McGrady on drugs? So if LeBron James was in the triangle, if he was introduced to the triangle, there would be no question that he would be the GOAT. Yet, if he was introduced to the triangle, would he be better than Kobe Bryant? And they're saying no. Can we make this make sense? He wouldn't be better than Kobe Bryant if in the triangle, who wasn't better than Michael Jordan, but yet LeBron James would be the GOAT, and there'd be no question if he was introduced to the triangle. This is just an asinine statement. I think Tracy McGrady was just like a Mr. Me Too. He's seeing all of the YouTube action. He's seeing all of the former NBA players that have these successful podcasts, and he wants in. He's like, oh, me too. I can have a hot take too. Look at me. I can do this too. I am extremely disappointed in Tracy McGrady. Extremely. So you're just willing to get on TV or on YouTube and say anything. People will just literally get up here and say anything now. What about your own personal integrity? What about your own conscience? You know what you're doing. How can you be okay with it? For what? For clout? I don't think he needs the money. So why get up there and make a comment like that? For what? Really weird stuff, really weird behavior. No, LeBron James would not be the GOAT if he played in the triangle for a few reasons why. So if he was introduced to it at 2 years old, it wouldn't have mattered. LeBron James cannot play in a system. He would have rejected the triangle his whole life. In high school, he couldn't play in a system. The triangle requires someone who can make a clutch basket. The triangle requires someone that, hey, if this breaks down, I can rely on me. LeBron James has never been that guy. Everybody else has to come up big in some moment for him. He's not the guy to take over when the triangle breaks down. Triangle isn't perfect. The triangle can break down, and when that happens, you need to have a clutch shot maker. You need to have someone that can get a bucket. I don't know if LeBron James is that person. The triangle tends to break down at the end of games down the stretch. And we all know what happens to LeBron James at the end of games down the stretch. He collapses. It is what it is. LeBron James, maybe he would have benefited from going to college. LeBron James is not a good mid-range shooter. He's just not good in the mid-range. He doesn't have much of a game there. And folks who are successful in the triangle, they have a mid-range shot. It's not LeBron James. That's not his game. LeBron James would have rejected the triangle, and he probably would have fired the coach that tried to force him to use it. That's exactly what would have happened. And anybody else who looked good in the triangle would have been traded away, because LeBron James can't look bad in the triangle. God forbid. Steve Kerr does some form of the triangle, and the idea that LeBron James could get traded to the Warriors potentially, that whole offense would change. They would not play that way anymore. LeBron James wouldn't get introduced to the triangle. He would reject it. He would fire the coach, and a laundry list of other things would come out of him being forced to play in a triangle. That's a joke. What a joke. Draymond Green took, an opportunity to talk about why he thought that LeBron James was the GOAT. And I thought that that was absolutely ridiculous what he did. Of course, he went to Kai Cenat's stream, I guess on Twitch or wherever he went, and he decided to talk about why LeBron James is the GOAT. And obviously, when you partner with Kai Cenat, what are you trying to do? You're trying to reach the masses. You're trying to reach a large group of people. You're trying to influence young NBA fans so that they can grow up to believe that LeBron James is the GOAT, which he's not. Even my dog doesn't believe that LeBron James is the GOAT. Nobody believes it. And so, of course, Draymond Green was trying to convince more people that LeBron James is the GOAT. It didn't work on me. Maybe you guys can tell me if it worked on you, and we'll react together.
The reason why is because Bron can control.
He said Bron. He said Bron, Talil. Talil, he said Bron.
You ready to go fight me, bro?
He got Bron signature tatted on you. Pull up a chair.
You got Bron signature tatted on you? I'll be honest.
Show me
It takes about 7 minutes to get from my room to this room. I was running full speed to come see your answer in person because you never played against Jordan. You never played against Jordan. No. So there's no way you can say Jordan is better than Bron.
No, hold on. I want to make a serious reasoning, though.
So
Bron because why?
It's Bron because people threw the towel in on J.R. Smith. Like, as talented as J.R. was, people threw the towel in on him like, yo, he can't play winning basketball. He can't do this. He can't do that. It's not just J.R. though. If you look at some of the guys that he had to lead, yeah, J.R. had talent, no question. But people threw the towel in on you already. When people throw the towel in on you in this league, it's over. And people threw the towel in on J.R. and Brown's like, nah, this man can shoot and he can defend. I can do something with that. I don't think MJ had many guys that went through that. Like Scottie Pippen is like
Matthew Dellavedova.
Delly stinks. Like Matt, he won 2 games in the NBA Finals with Delly.
Like stinks. Matthew Dellavedova. It's fucking terrible.
I got a lot of
Stephen Curry around.
I got a lot of respect for Delly. Stinks. I respect his game. Completely stinks. Like to win with like guys like that. Man, it's so hard to win in this league, bro. To win with guys like that. MJ wasn't winning with Matthew Dellavedova. I mean, unless they thought that was Steve Kerr, but like, he wasn't winning with Matthew. Like, Steve Kerr is probably one of George's worst teammates that contributed to a teammate. Steve Kerr was a damn good NBA player that played 14, 15 years in the NBA.
Watch coach.
No, I'm just saying.
You don't want to come up with Coach might put you. That's coach. That's coach.
I'm just telling you.
Right.
I'm just telling you. Steve, if you look at Steve's journey in the league, for someone that contributed to a championship on the Bulls, his path was probably the worst of anyone. Like, that's just fact. Like,
fair enough.
Had to figure it out. Like,
that's real.
Cut from a team, had to figure it out. His path of guys that contributed to the Bulls championship, his path was worse than anyone.
He had a crazy shot though for that one.
Big time.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's all a part of him going to make it happen. Steve's path was dog shit. He just had to figure it out. Like, last cut on the team, make the team type shit. His path, Jordan ain't had them type of teammates. Jordan had made teammates. Matthew Dellavedova, bro?
Nah.
Come on, man. And so I think to do that, like
Shane
like the Miami teams, no question.
I ain't gonna lie. Damn.
Like Miami teams, no question.
I am so sick of Draymond Green kissing LeBron James's ass. I'm sick of it. The idea that LeBron James never had any help is also ridiculous. I mean, how many all-star teammates does LeBron have to play with? Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Shaquille O'Neal, Mo Williams, Shane Battier, Anthony Davis, Kevin Love, Ray Allen, J.R. Smith, Kyrie Irving, Ilgauskas, I mean, come on. Michael Jordan played with Scottie Pippen, Rodman, Tony Kukoc, Robert Parrish when he was on his way out. Those were the Hall of Famers he had. LeBron James has played with loads of Hall of Famers. Make it make sense. He never had any help. The Cavaliers team that he went to the finals with? Come on. We have to stop disrespecting people who made it to the NBA that are professionals. Larry Hughes was a damn good NBA player. Daniel Gibson stepped up for LeBron James, but they were made out to be losers and scrubs. Big Z was an all-star. Stop saying LeBron James didn't have any help, that he dragged this team to the finals, but they weren't good enough to win. LeBron James was good enough to drag them to the finals, but he wasn't good enough to win. That doesn't make sense, guys. He had to use his team to get to the finals. Stop the excuses. He's not the GOAT. It's a joke. A complete joke. LeBron James has made a mockery of the NBA. The GOAT? Please. Oh, it's just Draymond Green is absolutely disgusting. He's a disgrace. I think it was it Steven Jackson that said that he could name 200 players that were better than Draymond Green right now? Something like that. I could be exaggerating, but I agree. Draymond Green is overrated. I think that he should not be a Hall of Famer. I think that he should not. I don't think that we should even have to listen to him. I don't think that he should have a contract for the media. I don't think that he should be going to ESPN to talk about anything. I don't want to hear from him. But obviously, I mean, why do you guys think that Draymond chose Kai Cenat's platform to spread lies? Influence. You go to Kai Cenat, you know that millions of people are going to watch. So Draymond Green gets to spread lies to millions of people. He gets to spread misinformation. That's why. That's why he went to Kai Cenat. The La Media, Draymond is a part of the La Media machine, and this is what they do. They influence young, impressionable fans to believe the things that they say, even though they're not true, they're lies. But there's some people that the lies just don't work on. There's some people that they're not going to completely sell their soul. They might be nice to LeBron James, but they're not going to sell their soul. And that's Magic Johnson. I think he wants to celebrate today's game. He wants to see the game continue to elevate. He's an owner, you know. He owns teams. He understands what it is and what it means to be supportive of the league. But he absolutely ethered LeBron James. He ended the GOAT debate if there ever was a debate. If there ever was a real debate over this, he's ended it time and time again. He's had several mic drops, but recently he did a guest appearance on Earn Your Leisure podcast. Love that group of guys. Love that podcast, guys. Go and subscribe to Earn Your Leisure if you haven't heard of them. Really cool content. talk about a lot of different kinds of investments. They talk about marketing. They talk about different things that can really help you move your business forward if you're interested in those kinds of in that kind of content. But they had Magic Johnson on, and he had an amazing appearance. And I have the video for you guys, and we're going to watch and we're going to react together. But he absolutely clowned LeBron James. And I want to know, after you guys see this, I want to know, do you think that he deserved to be clowned by Magic Johnson? So let's watch and listen. And I want to see what you guys are saying in the comment section. So here we go.
I'm standing here in front of you because I want you to be successful. And always remember, it's enough room for everybody. We forget that. We forget that. Look what happened. Let me now sit down. Look what happened. Now I got to give you this. Look, Junior Bridgman, before he passed away, basketball player, billionaire. LeBron, Michael Jordan. You see, it just keeps going. It's enough room for everybody. And when Michael and I see each other, we pat each other on the back, man. Can you believe it? Can I beat him? Nah, he got that one-on-one thing. See, I'm always going to be honest with myself. Only thing I beat Michael in is them no-look passes and leadership. Talk about it. It ain't no question. Just like it ain't no question what he going to do to me. Dunks and all that. But, you know, that's what make him a bad boy and the best that's ever done it. Don't get it twisted. I love LeBron, but No.
Yeah, we got that documented. No, it's documented. Okay. Shot, you heard that?
Hold on, you know LeBron's not good. I love my boy. I love him. Yeah. But when Michael Jordan took off with that tongue out, hold up. Listen, because a lot of you wasn't born in. 1991 against my Lakers, right hand. We thought we had him. He looked as we went down. He switched it to the left hand. Tongue went left. Spun it against the glass and good. There's nobody alive that's been able to do just that. That boy is too bad. I'm telling you right now. But LeBron is a bad boy too. He's a bad boy, but he's not Michael.
Appreciate that, Magic.
Look at it. Look at that face right there. Oh my God.
Staying on that, I always wanted to ask you this question as a basketball fan. That Barcelona experience. I mean, we watched documentaries and all that. What was it like being with the greatest players of all time, greatest team of all time? What's the story that maybe nobody knows? Like, what's a great memory from you in that dream?
Oh my gosh, guys. Honestly, I laughed so hard during this clip. I'm like in tears because Magic Johnson, you can tell that he looks for any and all opportunities to troll not just LeBron, but LeBron fans. He got up on that stage and completely clowned LeBron and was like, look at his face. Look at his face. He loves the look on LeBron fans' faces when he confirms that it's not even close. He's a good player. He's great. You know, he was a bad boy, but he's not Mike. Michael Jordan is a far superior player, Hakeem Olajuwon has said. Michael Jordan is just, it's not even close. The legacies are not even close. The accomplishments are on a whole different level that LeBron James has never been able to reach and will never reach. Magic Johnson just absolutely ethers LeBron James fans, and just the end of it when he's just pointing and laughing at the guy on stage like, I'm a LeBron fan and LeBron's my GOAT and blah, blah. I mean, it's just so funny. I can't help but to laugh. And I mean, Magic Johnson clowned LeBron James and LeBron James fans in like 30 seconds. He ain't Mike. Yeah, he's good and all that, but he ain't Mike. Let's get it. Let's be clear. I love it. Honestly, I just love it. And I mean, I do think that LeBron James deserves to be clowned at every moment when the GOAT conversation comes up. I do. I think that players of old, players of current, anybody with a mouth should be able to say that LeBron James is not the GOAT at any point in time, point and laugh at LeBron James fans for crying about it and getting all upset. They get their panties in a bunch because somebody said that their king is not the GOAT. LeBron is forever cringe, not forever king. And so I think that Magic Johnson, I mean, he warms my heart. I hate when he defends LeBron. I hate when he overly is complimentary when he shouldn't be in effort to celebrate the league. But There's moments where he keeps it real when he's just like, "Hey, it's Michael Jordan, guys. Let's not get it twisted. Let's be clear. It's definitely not LeBron." Oh man, I see that we got a couple super chats and I want to get around to those. I also want to read some comments from you guys. I think this is a perfect time to get to those. So let me go ahead and start off with a super chat. So from the Drew Show, thank you and salute to you for $2. You're tripping to say that he was set up. I'm assuming you're talking about Kawhi. And I mean, look, my opinion is what I said. I mean, I said what I said. Kawhi Leonard, he's the guy that he's participated in all these shady dealings and it's finally caught up to him. And now the Clippers want no parts of him. He's the aging superstar that they get to discard. It's just like, has anybody ever seen that show House of Cards? When the very first season, this is my favorite season of the show, Zoe, she goes after Frank on the Netflix show, and he's the majority whip, and he's doing all these shady things to get ahead politically, and he winds up sleeping with this journalist Zoe, and he doesn't care about her at all, and he tells her pretty much from the outset that out of this relationship, I'm looking for money and I'm looking for power and control, and you're going to be discarded at the end of this. You're going to be hurt. And that's Kawhi Leonard. He's the person that wanted to participate in an under the table deal in order to get more money. Who knows what he was doing with that money, but he wanted more money. He let his greed take over. He participated in this, and then now he's being discarded. The more powerful player in the equation is coming in, and they're going to probably go pretty much unscathed because whatever punishment they receive is a small thing to a giant. But Kawhi's contract getting voided is a much larger punishment to him than whatever Steve Ballmer is going to receive. So no, I don't think I'm tripping at all. I think that it's the relationship ran its course and it's no longer serving the Clippers. So why are they going to continue to pay? Why are they going to continue to pay? Why are they going to continue to be held hostage by this person that thinks that they can demand more and more money for doing nothing? Yeah, I think they want him out. I think it's safe to say the Clippers want him out of their organization. The Drew Show, another $2. Who is stopping Kawhi and Uncle Dennis from talking? Nobody. They never talk. So nobody's stopping them, but it's not like he's been trying to talk. He doesn't want to talk. He never has, and he's not going to. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to work. It all tracks. The Drew Show, again, salute to you for another $5. Pablo Torre is a socialist activist journalist, borderline communist. He is with the billionaires crowd. That's his motivation. I'm sure he's being funded by them because he's bragging about all the money that he can spend on investigative journalism. And if his pockets are that deep, if he's that unscathed that he can actually sort of circumvent the wrath of Steve Ballmer, who's a billionaire that can pretty much have him erased at any point in time, then I'm sure he can certainly come up with the resources to investigate LeBron James and Balco. Why can't he investigate Cale Sonnen's claims that LeBron James is on Balco? That is the true that's the most explosive story probably in sports. Break that, investigate that, Pablo Torre. Another $5 super chat from the Drew Show. Salute to you. Explain to me how Steve Ballmer founded Aspiration in 2013 to set up Kawhi Leonard in 2025. He didn't found the company. Okay, maybe he didn't found the company. So what? If we think that his hands are completely clean, if we think that Steve Ballmer isn't behind the leaks, you've got to be crazy. He is worth $180 billion. There's nothing that's going to hit the media that he doesn't know about ahead of time. There's nothing and no one that he can't buy or control. So yeah, if he didn't found the company and if he didn't already have, you don't think that he has shell companies set up when he needs to pay somebody? You don't think that he's ever paid anybody off? You don't think that he's ever paid anybody through a company that can't be traced back to him? The Drew Show, another $2. Thank you so much. Tracy, been hanging with Steve franchise. Yikes. I mean, yeah. Seems like T-Mac is he's struggling. He wants relevancy and or money, who knows. So he's clout chasing and he's chasing something. It could be a check, it could be just relevancy, who knows. The Drew Show, salute to you for a $20 super chat. Bill Cartwright and Luke Longley are goated, LOL. They must be. I mean, that's what they do. They try to puff up LeBron James's legacy by saying that all of Jordan's teammates were just these, amazing talents. None of these people, they don't amount to the level of help, all-star, superstar, number one option help that LeBron James has had throughout his career. The Drew Show coming through with another $2 super chat. Salute to you. Skull and Crossbones Beans a lot. I don't know what you're talking about there, but thank you for the $2 super chat. And I do want to know what you guys think. What's everybody saying in the chat right now? We have Reach Dog. Kawhi could have said no. I get that it's money, but come on, you already have enough. Exactly. And that's where the greed comes in. And that's the downfall. So that's where he got caught up. That's where he messed up, is being greedy. Nobody wants to hear why they didn't go find out this and that about LeBron. We're talking about Kawhi. That's who got busted. Focus on one person at a time, hater. I can focus on whatever I want to focus on. And the point that Pablo Torre is investigating Kawhi Leonard and this, and he's got deep pockets, I'm imploring him to investigate Balco as well. And if you think that that's hate, I don't know what to tell you. But I've spent a lot of time talking about Kawhi, a lot of time talking about this situation in the Clippers saga. So if you don't like my commentary, you know what to do. Spurs Am, it's about time everyone knows about the Kawhi drama. I mean, everybody does know about it, I think. And I think because Steve Ballmer is talking a lot, he's running his mouth a lot, Kawhi Leonard is not. So people have less to say about what Kawhi Leonard is saying and thinking because we don't know. But I know it looks bad. And I don't believe anything that Kawhi Leonard is going to say, if he should say anything. And I don't believe that he's innocent in this case. I think he's guilty. I think Steve Ballmer is guilty. I think both parties are guilty. Both need to be held accountable. And I am really excited, actually, to see what Adam Silver is going to do. Is he going to make an example of Kawhi Leonard? And should he make an example of Kawhi Leonard? He absolutely should. This behavior needs to be eradicated from the NBA. What it does is it hurts the integrity of the league. It makes NBA fans question whether or not players are going to play, and participate in games. Is their salary going to be enough for them? Should they even purchase tickets because their favorite player might just not play because they didn't get that underhanded deal that they wanted? Kawhi Leonard absolutely needs to be punished. If the NBA investigates and it comes out to be true, which it likely is going to come out to be true because it seems very true. Here's What We Know podcast. The same energy you spend on hating on LeBron, you can spend on finding a husband and change your life for certain. I don't know who this person is, but I'm grateful that you seem to think that you know anything about my life. But maybe you need to find a husband. Who knows? Seems like you do. You're concerned about someone finding a husband. I think perhaps you need to find one. Anyhow, Magic Johnson, I appreciate him. I appreciate his comments. He always makes me laugh when he talks about Michael Jordan versus LeBron. He always does when he talks about the tongue hanging out. I love that. I love that move that Michael Jordan did in the 1991 finals. Magic Johnson oftentimes talks about it, and you can tell he just looks upon that memory so fondly, and I appreciate it. I appreciate when he shares that. Now moving along into some other news in the sports media world, as you guys may have heard, Molly from First Take, she is leaving the show. She's not going to be with First Take anymore. She's leaving the show. She made a statement about it. Stephen A. Smith has since responded. And, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Why did Molly move on from First Take? What do you guys think about it? I want to play some more content from Stephen A. Smith and his response to this. Thought it was interesting. I thought that it was really in poor taste of Stephen A. Smith. But first, let's try to figure out and piece together why Molly actually decided to move on from First Take.
And that's what's going on today, is it involves Miss Molly Qerim, longtime host for ESPN's First Take, my day job, where she has been the last 10 years. Last night, she abruptly resigned as the host of the show. And to say that I'm quite sad about it is an understatement. Molly is a friend. Molly is a coworker. Molly is somebody that I have leaned on many occasions in the past, as she has done when it comes to me. We've been partners on the show for the last 10 years. And a lot of times some of these things happen and it's just uncomfortable to see. The details, quite frankly, are none of y'all business. But it's not as if I know all the details. It was a contract negotiation that was going on. ESPN certainly did not want to lose her. But in the end, she made a decision to walk away from the show effective immediately. As you see from her Instagram post, her Instagram story last night, after much reflection, I've decided it's time to close this incredible chapter and step away from First Take. Hosting this show has been one of the greatest honors of my career. Every morning I had the privilege of sharing the desk with some of the most brilliant, passionate, and entertaining voices in sports, and with all of you, the best fans in the world. To be blunt, it came as a shock. I was not aware that this is something that she was contemplating doing. But in the end, she made her decision, and we have to move on as a show. I don't like it, not happy about it, because I appreciate her and what she has meant to me, what she has meant to the show, what she has meant to the network, what she's meant to the business. And I'm going to miss her. It's just that simple. But we all make decisions that we deem to be in our best interest for whatever reason. And that story is for her to tell. Do I have an idea? Of course I do. Am I going to share it with you? No, because again, that's her story to tell. But I do think it's important that I started off the show by just acknowledging my love and appreciation for her and what she's meant to me and what she's meant to the show. Because over the years, over the last decade or so, the things that we've accomplished, she was right there. And we can talk about me being the star of my daily television show. We can talk about the contributors that have been stars as well. We can even talk about me doing this show right now. It's a hell of a lot easier to have a second job when the first job is made so easy, because you're working with somebody that makes it easy for you. And that's what she did for me personally. And so because of that, I just wanted to wish her the best, let her know the love is always here for myself, from my personal assistant and my right hand, Sumatra, to my security, Juvie, and my sister Carmen, and so many people that have loved her and loved on her over the years. We've got nothing but love for her. Having said that, I want to move on to a broader subject in regards to this. And this part is not about Molly. This part is about this industry, because I know there's a lot of people that look at sports and, you think you can do this every day. News for you. You can't wake up and be Mad Dog Russo. You can't wake up and be Adam Shine. You can't wake up and be Stephen A. It takes work. It's not just about what you know. It's about what you know about your audience and how to deliver a product to an audience that they're receptive to and they want to embrace and they want to magnetize themselves to moving forward. We're looking at an age with podcasting, folks with their own YouTube channel, everybody aspiring to be their own boss and make their own decisions. But in the end, we all have people to answer to. And I know this subject is piggybacking off of what has transpired with Molly's abrupt resignation per se. But it is important to point out that guess what? It doesn't have to be about her. But when you have negotiations and you're talking with people and you're going back and forth and you're hearing things that you may not want to hear or feeling things you may not want to feel, even though you're valued, even though people acknowledge those kind of things, we live in a world where we have to grow up. And again, I'm not talking about Molly here, but I'm watching, and I've been watching over the last several years, people in this business fall by the wayside because we forget that all of us ultimately answer to people. We don't get to define our own value. We don't get to define our own worth. We don't get to sit there and summarily say, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do. And guess what? I don't give a damn what anybody say unless you have the leverage to do it. Because business is all about leverage. And I'm going to take this opportunity talking to this audience, giving you some insight into who I am and how did I think and how I think to make sure you understand where I come from. When you heard me at a time when we were discussing my contract negotiations all over the media and all throughout the sports world, what I talked about was what my worth was based on what the numbers showed. I talked about these are the ratings. This is the revenue. And I talked about, like I wrote in my book, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes, which was a New York Times bestseller, by the way. I said in the book, I wake up with two things every morning, two thoughts of mine, prevalent most in my mind. How do I make my bosses more money? How do I get some of it?
Stephen A. Smith is a complete sellout. Okay. Why did Molly decide to move on from First Take? She obviously decided to move on because of Stephen A. I mean, they have called him greedy at the network. People can't stand working with him. That's been the report all over. Molly, I'm sure, finds Stephen A. Smith to be quite insufferable, and maybe she went to the negotiation table and she couldn't get any additional money, but obviously they're paying Stephen A. And I mean, clearly Stephen A. is such an asshole. Stephen asked Smith, she resigned, just let her resign in peace. Why do you have to talk about every resignation? Why do you have to get into it? Why do you have to be the one? It's in such poor taste, in my opinion, that he would do that. And what's interesting to me is he literally said, like, it's nobody's business why she resigned. And then he goes on to talk about it. Oh, I'm not going to talk about Molly, and this isn't about Molly, but, while we're on this subject, I want to talk about the fact that, I'm worth the contract that I'm getting paid, and, she didn't negotiate right, or, she wasn't looking at her worth based on the numbers. Basically, he's clearly telling us that Molly felt like she was supposed to be getting paid a dollar amount that she shouldn't be based on what she contributes to the show. He's basically saying that she didn't contribute much to the show. She shouldn't really have been asking for that. He's basically saying that she's part of his program and she needs to be grateful to be there, in other words. And that everybody kind of needs to know their role and know their place and shut their mouth and get in line. That's what it sounds like that Stephen S. Smith is saying. And let's just go right ahead and call him Stephen A. Snitch, because clearly, he can't keep his mouth shut. Whatever her problems were, he just has to come out and give us a little taste. He has to give us the tea on what's going on at the network and how, people are probably unhappy with their pay. He's getting the lion's share of the dollars, and either they're getting less money or they're unable to get a raise and they want something more. Who knows? But that seems to be what he's alluding to, is that she had a contract issue and she chose to leave. They gave her an offer and she turned it down. So either she was offered less money or she wasn't offered a raise at all. Who knows? But I do think that Stephen S. Smith, honestly, he's a narcissist. He made her leaving ESPN all about him. And one of the key things that he said, and he said it before, we've all heard him say it, is he always thinks about how he can make his boss even more money and how he can take some of it. So it's all about that. It's all about the money with Stephen A. He will sell his soul for anything. Doesn't matter. He'll sell his soul for, to the highest bidder. Whoever's going to pay the most. It's about the cheddar. It's about the cheese. Money and power. It's a common theme. That's been the whole thing that we've been talking about pretty much this whole episode tonight. And I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me late. I know it's after 11 on the West Coast, but guys, do me a favor. Don't forget to smash the like button. Okay, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit that notification bell so you know when I'm going live. It's been really a fun night for me so far. Thank you guys seriously for engaging, being really great in the chat, and just sharing what you think. But Stephen A. Smith, he continues to go on and on about himself and how he likes to make his bosses money, and basically that he's worth every penny that he's being paid. That's basically what he's saying. And he basically goes on to say that, you know, you can ask whatever you want, but you're not me. You can't do what I do. Stay in your place, stay in your lane. And that's under me. So here's what he had to say.
I'm going to repeat that. How do I get my bosses more money? How do I get some of it? Why do I say that? Because every one of us answer to somebody. For those of you out there with a YouTube channel, guess what? YouTube can flag your stuff and limit what you can disseminate to the masses. Over the airways of SiriusXM Radio, I have a beautiful deal with this company. I am incredibly happy. It doesn't escape me that Scott Greenstein is my boss. I work at ESPN. I'm incredibly happy with how I've been treated. Dave Roberts is my boss. Burt Magnus is my boss. Mike McQuaid is my boss. Jimmy Pitaro is my boss. Bob Iger is my boss. This notion that everybody gets to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it, feeling whatever way they want to feel. When you got your hand out for other people's money, it doesn't work that way. And again, I'm not talking about Molly with all of this. Molly's a separate category. But the reason why I piggyback off the topic of her to get into a more generalized discussion is because I'm seeing people in this business and beyond falling by the wayside and departing from places they don't need to depart from because their excellence at what they do is prevalent and relevant and flagrant. And they should be here. But it can all evaporate in a snap if you lose perspective. And you forget that everybody, and I mean everybody, answers to somebody. There's a beast that has to be fed. And along the way, sometimes it calls for you to make sacrifices you may not otherwise want to make. And what changed my life for the better, that made me a better professional, that made me a better man, was when I woke up and realized my primary objective in the world of business, in the capitalistic society that we live in, is to make somebody money and to be able to get some of it. Because nobody gets to take it all for themselves. Even the bosses have to surrender resources and assets to people that are under them to make sure everything flows efficiently and fluidly. That's the world we're living in. And you know, when you make moves, when I sat up there and I talked about what my worth was, it's because I knew I had leverage. Because I had other opportunities. You don't say stuff like that when you don't. I did. At that time. That doesn't mean that's going to be the case 5 years from now. Doesn't mean it's going to be the case 10 years from now or 15 years from now. Or it was the case 20 years ago or 15 years ago when I was fired. But in that moment, that was my time. At some point in time, all of us, and this part includes Molly, frustrations come with everything in the world of business. There will never be 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There will never be a time when all of those hours, days, weeks, months, and years are clean, devoid of stress and strain that wears you down. But you have to make a decision as to whether or not it's going to break you. Don't ever be broken. Don't ever let the system break you because the system is indiscriminate. It's always coming for you. And it's there to break you, to create opportunities for others who may be less deserving than you, just because they had the intestinal fortitude and the wherewithal to deal with what you couldn't deal with. That applies to Molly, that applies to Stephen A., that applies to every single one of you out there. Most of what I said has nothing to do with Molly's situation. I'm just reflecting on it retrospectively because of so many people that I see in the world of business derailing their own selves because they can't deal with the stress and strain that's inevitable for us all in the world of business. I just wanted to take a moment to touch on that, to start off the show, because I'm living really good right now. My life is cool. But to whom much is given, much is required. And I got so much love for so many people out there. Molly's going to be just fine. She's terrific. And she's a marvelous human being who is loved by me and everybody at First Take. And so many people within the walls of ESPN and Disney. I can't even tell you how sad people are today that she's not going to be there any longer. But she always has our love and respect, and we're going to always be there for her. But there's so many others out there watching and thinking about all the other kind of issues that come with our business. Please keep this in mind. Stress and strain comes with everything. The ones who can take it and march forward are the ones who survive and prosper. The ones who can't endanger their ability to do that.
I think Stephen A. Smith is an absolute disgrace and a sellout. I'm not going to talk about Molly. It's nobody's business, but let me go ahead and talk about her. He called her basically weak, said that she couldn't handle her job at ESPN, and that she was broken. I think that Stephen A. Smith is just awful. And I wish that he didn't have to make her time, because obviously I think she's going to be on the show through the end of the year. And so I just don't understand why he had to make it a contentious, last couple of weeks for her. I just don't think that that was necessary. And I don't think that he responded appropriately to Molly's exit. I think he's basically saying that, like, hey, I'm the king of this. Everybody bows down to me. You should be happy to work under my tutelage. And everybody needs to get in line. To me, that's the message from Stephen A. Smith. The message is, hey, I earned my contract. I'm not greedy. You were privileged to work here under me, and deal with it. Like it or lump it. I'm here. I just think that Stephen A. Smith he's playing, I think that he's playing a dangerous game, because he is acting like he is above it all. He's acting untouchable. Like nobody can dig up anything on him. Like he's never made a mistake. And I think he's got to be careful. I do. I think he's got to be really careful. And guys, I really want to thank everybody for hanging in here with me tonight. I do have a bonus topic for you guys. So, I've been waiting all day to talk about this. I didn't originally have it planned for this episode, but I have to bring this up. I just have to. And I know you guys have heard about this earlier, probably last night. And I wouldn't be me if I didn't come in here and chat with you guys about it and talk about it real quick. So LeBron James, let's just get right into it, guys. Why the hell is he refusing to retire? Why is LeBron James refusing to retire? He went on, he did an interview with Complex Magazine, and he made it seem, he just gaslit the absolute dog shit out of us, guys. When you talk about great gaslight, that is LeBron James to a T. He gaslights us, makes it seem like we're absolutely crazy for thinking that he would ever want to possibly retire. The Forever King commercial seems like retirement's coming. The idea that, the Lakers want to move away from him, bring Luka Doncic to the team, seems like retirement's coming. Him having this podcast where he's doing nothing but running his mouth, calling himself the GOAT, it would seem like retirement's coming. And not to mention all of the campaigning and marketing that he's done surrounding his potential or impending retirement. He had a whole ad. LeBron, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And he's sitting behind a podium and he's like, I've been asking myself the same question. But yet he gets on this interview with Complex Magazine and decides to gaslight us and make it seem like we're crazy for questioning whether or not he wants to retire. So guys, we're going to listen. We're going to laugh together. Here we go.
entering year 23. You started to play golf now. It's your 23rd shoe.
Yeah.
You're on the Forever King Tour. These things seem to have some sort of commonality. Are you hinting something at it?
Retirement is coming. It is coming. It's just not here just yet. Listen, guys, every time I pick up something new does not mean retirement. It's like, oh, I've seen him with chopsticks. Oh, he's retiring. Oh, I've seen you wear a T-shirt that's too big. Oh, retirement. I'm not hinting at anything. I mean, obviously, I know I'm on the other side of
that hump.
The hump, for sure. They're like, come on now. Like, I'm not going to play another 23 years. That's for damn sure. And I'm not about to play another 10. I'm definitely gearing up to where the end is. I'm not there yet. Oh, you picked up golf, retirement. It's like, it's just something I want to do. It's just a little hobby.
All LeBron James has done at the end of every season for the past, I don't know, 3 to 5 years is talk about retirement. So it's not about, oh, you picked up a golf swing. Oh, you want to hobby. Like, why do you have a golf as a hobby? Do you know how badly you can injure yourself? First of all, LeBron James, you don't have the coordination, the body. You are too stiff to be playing golf. You could easily injure yourself. So if you're serious about winning titles like the way you say, stop picking up hobbies. Be laser focused on winning a goddamn title. He's full of shit, guys. The only difference between LeBron and Kawhi is that LeBron James actually shows up to play. He shows up for the games, but you wonder, what is he actually playing for? Why? Why is he putting us through this? Why? Why is the end not like super near? Why isn't it this season or the next? Please. Can somebody answer why LeBron James won't retire? Is it because he's going to be investigated for Balco? Is he hanging on because he's just so scared of what else is going to be exposed? Because even while he's still playing, I mean, he's just getting exposed for a variety of things left and right. So it's just kind of like, what is the reason? To me, it's Balco. This is screaming. It's got Lance Armstrong written all over it. Do we remember he refused to leave the sport? And that's how he got exposed? He didn't want to stop winning. He didn't want to stop cheating. And then eventually he gets exposed for it. And he didn't want to stop cycling because, again, it's like all of the winning, all the cheating that you do, it's addictive. Not only is it addictive, it's okay, well, I'm in the limelight. The league has to protect me. So Adam Silver, the NBA, they're going to protect LeBron James. Nike's going to protect LeBron James for as long as they can. They're going to do anything that they can to protect him. I'm ready for LeBron James to retire. Please retire. But my guess is he wants another father-son duo moment. He wants another moment. Nobody's ever played with two sons in the NBA. It's like we're going to have Carlton and Ashley Banks playing in the NBA with LeBron. Guys, I can't. I mean, and like, is he going to stay on the Lakers? Where is he going from here? So he's going to get himself traded. Where are him, Bronny, and Bryce going to play together? The father-son trio. That's what it's going to be, a father-son trio. I mean, something tells me, guys, that LeBron James is just he's going to get booed in LA. If he's not liked in New York, he's going to get booed in LA.
And I want my damn respect too.
Get out of here, LeBron. Go back to LA. I'm coming to New York with that boo. 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 LeBron. LeBron. You never beat Jordan. You never beat Jordan, my Oh, Kobe. You bum. Oh, Kobe. You bum. Get out of here.
I couldn't resist it. But guys, I really, really, really appreciate you guys joining the stream. I want to open up the phone lines, and I just want to open it up to, one phone call, and you can talk about whatever you want. You can ask me any question that you want. We had a really, really great live stream tonight. I'm really grateful for all of you guys joining. Do me a favor and smash the like button. We've had a really good audience, lots of great engagement. Continue to drop me a line in the comments. I really want to know what you think. Why the hell is LeBron hanging around like a super senior? Why? Why is he refusing to retire? The longer he plays and the less accomplishments he makes, it's just kind of like, what are you doing this for? I want to take our first caller of the night, and probably our last caller. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice.
Hey, Dom, talking to you nice. It's VC on the line.
Hey, VC. What's going on? Happy Friday. So nice to hear from you. What do you think? What do you want to talk about today?
Yes, happy Friday. But I'm calling in to answer that LeBron question. See, I'm on the same stance as you. I thought LeBron James would leave in year 24 because, that's when Bryce James, I think he will go one and done, whether he's NBA ready or not. LeBron James is definitely, I think he wants to play with both of his sons. So, I guess that would be another, that's supposed to be another accomplishment on his GOAT case. Michael Jordan was washed in Washington and his sons weren't good, so they couldn't make it to the league. But look at LeBron. He's able to play till 41, 42 years old and has both of his sons. So I guess people like that storyline. And then another thing is maybe, when you're called the chosen one, maybe LeBron has been media trained ever since 2000, and, he might not be ready for life after basketball. He might not be ready to leave the spotlight. So I'm thinking that could be the only justifiable, the only logical reason why he's still lingering around. But I remember, Dom, I've seen a video of LeBron James. He's doing like a drill with some younger guys, like with some, I think, like some teenagers, like college days guys, where they're running to the 3-point line, having to go. They take the ball from the 3-point line, driving baseline for a dunk, and I'm looking at LeBron literally losing the step. And I know, and then Angry Old Hoops, he's a guy who every time Angry Old Hoops has literally live streams of LeBron being a literal cone on defense. I mean, he's just standing there. If we're not, the only time you're really going to see him take it seriously on the defensive side of the ball if he can showcase his athleticism, so people can jump for joy that a 40-year-old is able to, still use his athleticism. But like, I don't know. I guess LeBron, LeBron is an egomaniac, so he's going to do whatever he has to do to keep that spotlight on him.
I couldn't agree with you more. He's an egomaniac. He's a narcissist, and I think he's going to hang around in the league so that he can get that second father-son, situation going on where, they're a father-son trio, all three of them playing on the same team. I guess he wasn't there for the kids growing up, so he's going to babysit them now in the NBA.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
It's the only thing he knows. What else does he know?
Yep. And then you have to think LeBron is probably tied in with all these entities like Nike. They talk. I guess I've heard rumors of him being indebted to China. So I guess he has to just stay. He has to stay as long as they feel he's serviceable. And if they see another cash cow for the new generation, then maybe I guess that's when they're done with LeBron.
It very well could be. Really interesting stuff. I mean, I think that this is going to be a developing story. And it's going to be riddled with lots of content for us to come in here and talk about. If we think that LeBron James is just going to, ride off into the sunset quietly, we are sadly mistaken. We're going to be in here talking about Mind the Game again. We're going to be in here talking about maybe some faked injuries, some, different lies that the media wants to tell about Bronny James. And, we're going to see him put on his NBA costume again this season. So there's going to be a whole lot of LeBron James, and we're just never going to get rid of this guy. So thank you so much, BC, for your call tonight. Really appreciate you.
You're welcome, Dom.
And I miss talking to you. So I'll be back again tomorrow. I'm going to have a really, really
All
another
right.
great show. So thanks so much. Well, guys, thank you so much for an amazing stream. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Don't forget to click the little notification bell so you get notified of the live streams, and share the video. This is really important. Share the video with your family, your friends, your social media networks, and let's help grow the community really big. Thanks for hanging out with me late. I hope that everybody has a wonderful evening and get some rest. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I can't wait for our next stream. So thanks so much. Don't forget, guys, talk to me nice. Bye-bye.